Hello again, you're watching Talk Lancashire. We'd love to hear from you, so tweet us at Talk Lancashire. Now, before the break, we really got kind of in-depth talking about spirituality.
Which doesn't
exist. We
it's
found
just a
out.
process of self-actualization, coming into more emotional intelligence.
There we go.
More personal harmony, that's it.
There we go.
Not for triggers, not for hippies, for
Everyone.
everybody.
And we were talking about schools and how there's some really interesting mind work happening, but you were saying it's not enough.
No, there's got to be deeper, more explicit meaning, talking about training, a curriculum in, not just a practice that we do to enhance our emotional circuitry in our brain, but an actual curriculum where we become learned in emotional intelligence.
Fantastic.
So I just want to talk about a bit of research. When researchers do something called a meta-analysis, that means they don't actually do a study. What they do is study lots of studies.
Oh.
So in 2014, there was a meta-analysis, so a study of studies, over 3,000 studies, which looked at spiritual people. So we've realised spiritual people are just people on this journey to self-actualisation, and what it did for health. So people who were in this category of self-actualisation experienced less suicide, less depression, less anxiety, less substance misuse and abuse, greater quality of life, and then faster remission of depression and better psychiatric outcomes as well. So what this is validating, what this is proving, is that people who are on this path, who are getting emotionally intelligent, are experiencing greater mental health, greater happiness, better quality of life. And that's, again, something that's showing that now is the time for us to bring that into our world, into our schools, into our societies.
Absolutely. I mean, I was listening to a TED talk actually by I think a former teacher who had really got into meditation, and he said one of the kind of weird pluses of doing meditation was that he'd never had a cold since he'd started meditating. So before it, when it was winter and things like that, he would always have an annual sort of sniffle, you know, a bit of the flu, and he'd been meditating for maybe 5 or 6 years and he'd never again had a cold.
Do you know why? So when we do mindfulness meditation, it enhances the neural circuitry of the brain. So our brain is the computer interface for all of our body. The way your genes express themselves determines which things get switched on and off in your body. So if you think about the immune system is programmed by your genetics. So if you're enhancing the efficiency of your genetics, you're enhancing the efficiency of your immune system.
Amazing.
Yes.
Everyone, let's get meditating. Forget your beachums and things.
So shall we?
Yes.
Perfect timing, no time like the present.
Okay.
So viewers, if you would also like to join in, all I invite you to do is just take a comfortable seat, put both feet on the floor, that's it, settle into yourself, maybe resting the hands on the lap and relaxing the body so that the body's not going to distract us. And then you can take a deep breath, just take your surroundings in, and as you exhale, gently close the eyes and go inside. And just take a moment to look at the blackness that's there when you shut your eyes and you peer into it. That's your own universe, your own spacescape. Just be there with that stillness. And then now, just take your awareness to your breath. Notice it. Feel it. You might feel it in your shoulders, they might rise and fall gently. It might be your chest where you feel it most. It might be the nostrils where you gently feel the breath coming in and going out. And we can just give some gratitude to our breath at this moment. Our breath is our friend, it keeps us alive. It works with our circulatory system and our blood to keep our body going. And so a really good technique, just to train the brain and the attention, is to start counting the breaths. So at the end of one breath cycle, that's one breath. At the end of the next breath cycle, that's 2 breaths. And what you'll find is the mind will wander off because the mind is very active. It likes to explore, it wants to know more, it wants to take things in all of the time. And so it'll distract itself, so you'll notice that your mind will wander off. And then what you want to do is just gently bring it back to the breath and start again from 1. Be consumed by the breath. Be very intrigued by it. What does it feel like? When you look at the breath that came before, compare it to the breath that came after. Was it longer? Was it shorter? Was it deeper? And you really start to become consumed by the breath and drop the number in very subtly at the end. Allow yourself to go a little bit deeper into the breath. So you'll almost feel like the body is kind of falling away and you're in this space of being consumed by this sensation of breathing in, the rise, out, the fall, and then there's a rest, a stillness in between the breaths. And then without you having to do anything, naturally starts to surge again. You start to open up again. The breath comes in, the rise, the fall, and then the stillness, the pause in between breaths. Each time your mind wanders off and you gently bring it back to the breath, what you've done is a repetition, like when you're in the gym and you're pushing weights. You're training the brain to be more focused, to be more still. And this is enhancing the neuroplasticity, which is having this beautiful cascade of enriching all of the circuitry there which supports the feeling brain, the thinking brain. It's enhancing your intelligence. It's enhancing the way your genetics are expressing themselves. It's making your body healthier. It's helping telomerase, which is on your chromosomes, which increases the longevity. So it's making you younger. All of these amazing things are happening while you're not even thinking about it. All you're doing is bringing the mind back to the breath, watching the breath, and bringing the mind back to the breath every time it wanders off. So just enjoy, let the breath just fall away and just enjoy being still. Notice how still the body is, how relaxed you feel, how calm. And these are just really positive side effects of doing the brain training. Revel in that space of relaxation. You deserve it. You really deserve it. And then, when you're ready, really gently bring your awareness back to your body. The weight of it, the physicality of it. Gently start wiggling the fingers and toes. Have a little stretch. And when you're ready, fluttering the eyes open.
Oh, that was lovely.
Yeah.
It's quite strange when you open your eyes. Like, I know this is going to sound quite odd, but everything felt a bit lighter. Like I noticed, the first thing I noticed was how bright everything was. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. But I did find it. I was listening to everything you were saying as we were going through the meditation, and I did find it was, at first my mind was going off and I was thinking about all sorts of things, you know, not all related to anything, and it was really helpful to be able to bring it back, because I didn't know how to stop that. And then I heard you say bring it back to the breath, so that allowed me to kind of stop the thinking. But what surprised me was how many thoughts I was having.
Yes.
Because that's quite shocking.
Yes.
Because that's the first time in a while. I mean, I do meditate, but I've got out of the habit at the moment. It's the first time in a while I've realised how many unsolicited thoughts we have going through our mind every second.
Yes. And we're self-critical as well. So we'll be walking down the street, and especially on a day like today, we'll be thinking, wow, it's really good, the sun feels really nice. And then all of a sudden, we'll have a thought in our mind about when we were 6 at school and we got bullied. And then all of a sudden, we're pulled into this emotion, this negative emotion. We're in the schoolyard, we're feeling really low self-esteem, it's awful. And all of a sudden, we've brought ourselves out of this beautiful sunny day where we felt really good, and we've dropped into this horrible space inside where we've gone off. So what a regular practice does is it trains a structure in the brain called the anterior cingulate cortex, the ACC. The ACC is the mediator between thinking and feeling brain. The more you meditate, the more that will remain focused on where you are. So that's what it means to be mindful.
Right.
Right? So when we're mindful, we're here, we're present. And that's what you experience. When you came back, you said everything's a bit more brighter because you're more present, you're more here. Your mind is less distracted, and you, Noemi, you're more here. So when we're walking down the street, when we're experiencing our everyday lives, the less we can go into these things which aren't real, they're either in the past or in the future, they're not here. The less we can go into them and the more we can be here, the less we're feeling these things which we don't need to feel, the more we're just in this still flourishing state. And also what it means is when something stressful does happen, we've got this ability to bring ourselves more focused. Right, what is actually going on? How much stress does this situation really warrant? How afraid do I need to feel here? What problem solving strategies have I got in my mind? Right, let's think about this very rationally, very mindfully, and then I can attack it and I can sort it out, and then I can get back to experiencing bliss. So that's what the mindfulness training does, is it trains this focus part of the brain. Meditation is something different. Meditation is where we're going and we can cultivate things. So we were talking about before we came on air about self-love being something which will help us to do all of this training and not see it as a chore, see it as a gift to ourselves. There's a meditative practice called the loving kindness method. And instead of sitting and watching the breath, when you sit in that space, what you're doing is trying to feel feelings of self-love. So first of all, you'll visualize yourself as a being, as a friend who's been on this massive life journey, experienced loads of hardships, loads of positive things as well, and you'll experience this kind of kinship with yourself. So you're feeling these feelings of affection, like when you sat in front of one of your best friends, they come round, you get your best things out, you want to feed them nice food and nurture them. What this meditation does is it allows us to have that space, to have that relationship with self. Then when you look at the neuroscience behind it, it increases the thickness of a structure in the brain called the insula. And the insula is the seat in the brain for self-empathy, interoceptive awareness, self-love. So if we can enhance that part of our brain, what we're doing is giving ourselves more muscles, more ability to better look after ourselves, which is what we all want.
Absolutely.
Because we all don't treat ourselves like our best friends.
We don't.
And we should.
I want to continue talking about that after this short break. See you in a couple of minutes. Bye.